I was bringing it back about the forgiveness. I was dealing with another woman a few weeks ago. We'll call her name Peggy, which is not her real name. Peggy had a traumatic life. She was one of a family of 3 sisters. And she was beaten by her father, she was abused, her mother was beaten, he was an alcoholic, he spent 2 terms in jail for the way he abused his children. And it had a traumatic effect on their lives, and even affects them today. Both their parents are dead now. But he even beat his mother shortly before she died, and she was sick. And when she related this, she was on the phone for, I suppose, about 3/4 of an hour relating all this. And you know, I didn't get over it for about 2 days, what she related to me. And I have since met her. But she was telling me about 3 weeks ago, her mother said when she died that in no way was her husband to be buried near her. And when she died, she was buried in some churchyard. And she went 3 weeks ago and she wanted to put a rose on her mother's grave. And she also, when her father died, she scattered his ashes around the churchyard in no particular place. So she brought 2 roses, one for her mother, which she put on her grave, and she put the other rose out in the churchyard, just to remember her father. His ashes was just scattered around in the wind. But loud and clear, she got this message, something, an experience she never had before, was put the 2 roses together, bring the other rose and put it beside the one on your mother's grave. Now that woman has to pray a lot for her dad. She'll be praying for the next year, a series of a lot of masses and prayers, which he's prepared to do. That man, he spent 2 terms in jail for the way he abused them and beat them. If he was now, there were short terms. And it was the only peace they got in their lives when he was in jail. If it was now, he would get years. But I'm only just sharing that it's forgiveness. Because she has prayed so much, and she had to forgive as well, and the other members in her family have to forgive. And this came up when we were praying, that she would have to forgive her dad for what he done to her. And it wasn't easy. And she said, you know, parts of her life when she think of it, especially in the younger parts of her life, she used to get so affected that just to mention it was enough. It would turn her off. And she also mentioned that, and I know this happens in a general way, Christmas time, up to the present moment, people would send her cards for Christmas and send her little presents. And Christmas time was the worst part of her life when she was a young person, because her dad would be on the chair at an awful rate, and he would give him an awful time. And the awful time was the way he beat him and he abused him in every way he possibly could. I hope I'm not affecting you out there by that. But it just shows that forgiveness. She has forgiven him now, and our sisters have to forgive him as well. And hopefully, maybe, I've only met her, but hopefully I will meet the others as well.